welcome to Season 4 of SkillCast, the podcast by the London Organisation of Skills Development. My name is Nurbanu and I'm your host. I couldn't be more excited to embark on this new season with you. In Season 4, we're pushing boundaries and exploring the forefront of skills development. We'll discuss emerging trends, innovative practices, and the evolving landscape of professional growth. Our lineup features thought leaders, industry pioneers, and change makers who are redefining what's possible. Whether you're aiming to future-proof your career, ignite your passion, or simply enjoy insightful conversations, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. So, Esther, welcome back to SkillCast.
Well, thank you.
You got to be with us on Season 3, now Season 4. And actually, there was quite a close gap between Season 3 and Season 4.
Yes.
So it's been 3 months.
Yes.
So, and I know you live a really exciting life. So what have you been up to in the last 3 months?
A really exciting life. Last time I came on, I'm trying to remember. I had just got back from Costa Rica.
Exactly.
Doing plant medicine. Okay, so I just
And this time...
I just got back from South India. I had a small group that I took on a spiritual journey. And it was quite exciting. I was just putting together a folder of the pictures to send to my people to use. But, yeah.
Is it the same trip with same people, or are these different people?
Different people. Different people every time. It depends on where I'm going and who shows up. Because it's really interesting. People that go with me, they have their ideas of what they think is going to happen. And when we get there, it's never what they think. And so, yeah.
In a good way or in a bit of a skeptical
It's always in a good way.
Oh, okay.
Always. I believe the universe is always working for our highest and best good, whether we understand it or not.
Yeah, and I feel like things happen for a reason. There's a purpose. They've come on that trip, and they might have come with a different intention, but then something else ends up happening. It's like that click and that
exactly
awakening.
it. That's it. In fact, I had a set of sisters, and they had not really been close because one stayed at home in the town where they were born, and she married and had 3 kids, and the other one left when she was young, and she kind of did a lot of traveling. She was married and stuff. And the first one went through a divorce with me. I worked with her to go through the divorce. Now the second one is going through a divorce. Oh, no. So it was a perfect time for them to come together and reacquaint themselves with each other. And it was interesting, the dynamics of what was happening between them, because they had not interacted that closely in years. And they left there so grateful for the time that they had and the new beginning. So, yeah, it's always interesting.
So tell me about a success story you've had.
Well, all of my clients are successful in one way or the other. It's really interesting because as of late, most of the men that have been showing up, well, mostly men have been showing up.
Interesting.
And mostly white men. And they all have their issues. I have one new client. Well, he's not new. I've been working with him about 5 months, but he's Taiwanese, and he's going through a divorce. I have a Jewish man from Israel. He's going through a divorce. And another Jewish man that I just wrapped up with, he almost went through a divorce, but I asked his wife to give me a year to straighten him out, and she did. And so he proposed to her, and they're going to have a second wedding in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
I don't know what magic you did there. Maybe you're like magic, Esther.
No, they do the magic. I just help facilitate it. Yeah.
You create that space for them where...
And I hold the space. Yeah. I hold the high watch for him. So he had to do the work. You know, I remember when I first started working with him, he says to me, so how long is this going to take? Because his wife sent him to me, right? Mm-hmm. She was ready. She was ready to walk. And I looked at him and said, how much time are you willing to give to yourself? And once he started committing and understanding the process, he began to see results. And he ended up calling me his spiritual mother. I was shocked. I was like, wow, I've graduated. So, yeah. It's interesting. People are hurting. And a lot of men, I am finding, are so totally disconnected from their emotions, from their feelings. And our feelings are the first way that the universe speaks to us. And so men are usually in their head, they're very logical. They don't feel. The feminine energy is the energy of feeling, of emotion. And that's how the universe speaks to us. And so part of what I do with them is help them feel that feminine energy. Because we have both energies.
Polarities,
Yeah. So I help bring that balance. And it's an amazing process.
So tell me about your family life, like your parents. What were they doing?
Both of my parents are dead. I didn't have. My father wasn't in the home. My mother raised us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 7 of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of, and but she did a good job. She had an 8th grade education because she was one of those marriages too where they arrange you got to get married, you got to get out, whatever. But and they were very religious. And me being the 7th child, I was very rebellious.
7's a divinely lucky number,
I don't know.
right? So,
I don't know. But
any of your other siblings into spirituality?
it's really interesting. I've lost 4 siblings. Well, 3 in the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years. I lost 3. And one of them was very, very close with me, and she was highly evolved. Mm-hmm. On my mother's side, all of the women had a gift. I call them the wisdom women. My great-great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee. And then her daughter, she was what is called a Voodoo priestess. And she actually practiced the healing arts and doing love potions and stuff for people and all that kind of stuff in New Orleans. They're from New Orleans.
Sounds like witchcrafts kind of stuff. Yeah, that sounds. I can actually just imagine, like, if your family were all alive and everyone was like very close. I can imagine you all like gathering a little circle, getting your little fireplace out, crystals out, and kind of just working on some magic.
It's interesting that you say that because I never thought that I had any of that type of stuff, and it wasn't until. My sister, her name was Ruth. And it's interesting because most of us were names. I had a brother, Gideon, David, Ruth, Naomi, and Esther, and Job. So there were 6 of us. We're all Bible names. Yeah. But she was very evolved. And I remember the year before she died, we were very, very close, and we would talk for hours. And she kept saying to me, Esther, it's your time, it's your time. And I didn't understand what she meant. I'm like, what is she talking about, right? And when she transitioned, I really began to step into who I am and accept who I am. Before, I kind of hid behind her, and we did have those little circles and stuff. Every New Year's we'd have, New Year's Eve, we'd have these circles, not family circles, but people that, she worked with and stuff. On New Year's Eve, they'd all gather at my house, and we'd have these circles, and they do what they do, and start the new year out right. So, they had little ceremonies, the bitter wine and the sweet wine. The bitter wine is to leave all of the bitterness into the past year, and the sweet wine is to take you into the goodness. And then we had a hand washing ceremony. The people it was a lot of stuff. But anyway, so
that sounds very rude, but very cool at the same time.
It was.
Like you've come from this kind of magical, I want to say this magical kind of background. So it's always been within you, this whole thing, and
I just didn't know it.
You just didn't know. And what age was it that it kind of opened up for you?
I had my first near-death experience at 23, and it was after that I began to seek and search, because I told you I was raised in a really religious family, right? And I couldn't get with it. I didn't understand what they were talking about. It didn't make sense to me. But after I had this near-death experience, I knew there was something more. I began to believe. So I began searching and seeking. And there was like, that's when I understood about manifesting and creating. I would just create all kind of stuff. And it was like, wow, this is cool. I like this, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what came online for me after that experience. But I studied all the religions, looking for answers of what had happened and how I was still here, because the doctors were like, If y'all know how to pray, you better play, because they couldn't do anything for me, right? And they kind of wrote me off. But yeah, it was a very magical experience.
And then after 23, you've just been on that search.
Life happened. I got married, had another kid, blah, blah, did a little politics, But everything that I did, there was this magic there that I didn't understand. People always were drawn to me. I worked on the campaign of the first Black mayor in Seattle, the first Black executive, county executive. And the saying was, if you want to win your campaign, get Esther to work on your campaign. They called me the kingmaker, and I didn't understand. I thought everybody saw the world the way I saw the world, but they didn't. But they saw me and was able to use what I had, and I didn't understand what I had. I just was doing what I do, and the magic was just there, but I didn't understand it as magic, So, yeah.
Do you believe everyone has magic
Everyone.
and or is it that you have to? I get that you facilitated for them to help to create magic, but does your energy help them being affiliated with you create magic?
I think we all have it. We just have to remember who we are. I think we live in a world that has indoctrinated us to think that we're helpless, or that we don't have any real power. You know what I'm saying? We have to work hard. We have to, give up all of our energy to the system to create the construct that we live in. We all have this power. We all have this magic, but we've forgotten. Because if you notice, when a baby is born, it comes in its pure love. It's not concerned whether it's going to be, it knows if I cry, somebody going to come. It has no doubt. But then as that baby began to walk and learn, they're picking up all of what has been put out there to indoctrinate you. Look at a little child when they play, they're imagining. And in their world, they have these little imaginary friends, or they play with things and this.
I used to do that. I used to play with my little
magic. That's the magic.
I used to play with Barbies and pretend they were talking to each other. So yeah,
and it was very real to you at that time. That's the magic. But we have been trained away from it. See, I tell my clients all the time, a thought is creation. Thinking is destruction. Because when you have a thought, like you thought, I want a red Ferrari. But then you start thinking about what you have to do and what you can't do, and I don't have enough money. See, and you destroyed that thought. Had you used your imagination, you could have brought it into your reality. But you've lost that ability because you've been indoctrinated to exist in this world with, what's the rules? You got to work hard. You got to go to school and get an education. You got to do this. You got to do that. All this you have to. There's no room for the magic. So you've forgotten. See, when you were playing with those Barbies, you could create anything. Nobody could come and tell you that it wasn't real, because it was very real to you. That's the magic. That's what we've lost.
So how do we get it back?
You have to start remembering. You have to start imagining. You have to tap back into that energy, because it's there. You have to remember who you are as a divine being. See, everything in this construct tells us that we got to worship this. We got to do this. We got to pray. We got to beg. No, you just have to allow. And know that it's coming. And see, I gave you some tips last time, but you didn't remember. So you went out there and you're like, oh, my car is not here yet.
Yeah, exactly. I remember saying in that podcast, I want to have a Ferrari, a red Ferrari. And as soon as I came off that podcast, I mentioned to a family member. I said I wanted a red Ferrari. And they were like, why do you want a red Ferrari? You like electric cars. Why are you asking for a Ferrari? So then at that point, I was like, maybe it was what I wanted in that moment.
But do you see what you did? You gave it to someone that felt that you didn't deserve it, or that why should she have one and I don't have one? So let me talk her out of it. And you went with it. If it was truly a desire and you held that desire and you began to imagine all the ways that it could come to you, and you truly believed it and felt what it would feel like when you sat in. See, when I wanted my BMW, I went down to the dealership, and I don't drive the little ones. I drive the big ones. I sat in that car. I took a picture of myself in the car, right? And I brought the picture, and I looked at it, and now I have the BMW. Do you understand? I never wavered from what I knew I should have. And so you wavered. That's what I'm saying. A thought is creation. When you start listening or start thinking about that thought, you're going to think about all the reasons why you can't have it. Or, oh, I have to do this. But what if I don't do it right? But when you're imagining, when you're using the power of imagination, anything is possible, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't have to know how. How is not your business. It's the universe business. So you forget about the how and just wait for the wow, because it's going to come. But no, we start thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and then it's gone. Or we tell someone that really don't have our best interests at heart, and they tell you, why would you think you should have that? Blah, blah, blah. But see, that's projecting. They're projecting their insecurities on you, and you're accepting them, and then there goes your dream.
That's a very valid thing, because I feel like when people project, they don't really know what they want in the first place, and because they don't want it, they're now projecting that. It's like, if I don't want it, why do they need it?
No, if they feel like they can have it, why should you have it?
Okay.
You see the difference?
That scenario.
Yeah. It's not that they don't want it. They have not even had the thought that it was possible. But you thought that it was possible. You had the thought that it was possible. And then you share it with someone that don't believe that it's possible, or you don't deserve it. What makes you think you should be riding around in the Ferrari? You understand? Boom. It's gone.
So then how do you deal with limiting beliefs of other people around you? Because you're there, you're trying to dream big, you're around that friendship group that helps you, but then you've got close people that say to you, it can't happen. It's not possible. Stop dreaming big. You need to come back to reality. How do you challenge that?
Okay, you don't have to challenge it. First of all, what other people think about you is none of your business. It's their issue. See, the problem is that you accept their thoughts as your issue. It's not your issue. It's theirs. It's not your business. When you get that through your head, you won't even talk to them because you don't want to hear you don't want to hear their negativity.
In one, out the other.
That's it. You think everybody is enamored with me? They're not. I get people talking crazy. I'm like, okay, cool, boo, whatever. But I'm still gonna be me. I'm still gonna be who I am.
Because you know who you are and you're
because I had to learn. I had to remember who I am. I had to remember. See, and you don't tell people your dreams because a lot of people don't have dreams. They don't even know that it's possible. But you have the idea. You have the dream. You know it's possible. But then you throw it out there to people that don't believe. And then you're like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'm thinking too much of myself. No, nothing is too much.
No, so some things I feel I want to create, but I have to rely on other people to create. So
you don't have to rely on anyone. The people that's going to help you will show up.
Like, so
you have to allow it.
Yeah, so it's like I want to create things to do with technology, but I can't. But I don't know coding. I can't use all of these different stacks and stuff. I need to outsource it, but that person is just not showing up, or maybe they're on their way.
How about how you thinking about it? I need to have this, but I don't know how I'm gonna have it. No, I need to have this, or I desire to have this. Fix it. That's the way I do it.
You just command it.
Check this out. I remember when I had to come to Boston and to
Our last conference.
Costa Rica.
Okay.
So I had those two things on my calendar, and I had just got back from India and Dubai. And I'm like, I looked at my calendar, I was like, oh God, how am I going? I said, universe, these two things on my calendar, either you remove them or you make a way for it to happen. I'm sitting at my computer, looking at my account, and there's this $3 charge a $3 charge that I don't know why that three. And so I start looking, I'm like, why is these people charging me $3? What is this? And it's just $3, but it was just sticking in my throat. I mean, just like, what is this $3? So I looked and I went and looked up the company, and I go to the company page. I have an account there that I have forgotten about, right? And I go to the home page and there's like $5,000 sitting there. And I'm like, so I called him. I said, listen, I told him I said, I'm looking at your home page and it says deposits and it's this amount. What is that? She said, that's your money. I'm like, that's my money? That's my money? She said, yeah. She said, we sent you we made a couple of deposits in January of 2024. Go back to your statement and tell me what those deposits are and you can get into your account. Sure enough, I went back and there was a 1 cent and a 2 cent deposit. She said, we've been trying to get in touch with you. I had forgot I had this account, but there was my money. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. All I did was say, you handle it. And $3, come on now, $3, but it's like I could not let the $3 go. And I followed it through, and it took me to the money that I needed. Yes, yes. And that's what I'm saying. You say you need someone to coach, you need someone to do it. They will show up in the most unusual ways. In the most unusual ways. I meet people all the time. I don't know why, but they show up.
I think I'll have to sit with you outside of this podcast and learn more.
And remember more.
And remember more. Yeah, exactly. I think personally I'd probably need to go on that journey in trying to remember. Yeah. And I believe that journey never ends. You're gonna keep learning because it's a long journey. Because you're learning from the past, but then you're also learning going forward as well. So
well, it's not even that. It's remembering. See, people think that we're here in this life to learn something. No. When we come with everything we need. Our soul has laid out that plan. Mm-hmm. And all the people that you meet through your lifetime, they're there to help you remember. Even the challenging things, but we're taught, like if something bad happens, we're taught, oh my God, this person did this to me, they did that to me, and I'll never forgive them, blah, 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 blah. But see, that person was there, and it's probably a part of your soul group, to create that situation for you to stop and say, now, why did I create that? And what was I supposed to remember about who I am from that situation? But see, our society is not set up that way. Because if you think about it, what they do with that becomes their trauma. Mm-hmm. And they wear it like a badge. I had this happen to me when I was 5 years old and I can't get over it. It becomes a badge. Instead of understanding that was a part of your life plan to help you remember that you are a divine being filled with enormous powers that you're not tapping into because you don't remember you got them. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So when you say to me, oh, you've had this all the time. No, gifts have come online over time as I begin to remember who I am and to trust that. Do you understand? Mm. See, we live in this world of duality. And so because we live in a world of duality, we tend to judge things good or bad. But everything that shows up in your life is there for your awakening. It's there for you to remember. Yeah.
Really enlightening. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
On this podcast. Really, really enlightening. And I hope you come back again.